welcome to your Umatilla County Conversations. I'm here with Commissioner Timmons today. Welcome. Is this your first podcast you've ever done?
This is my first podcast.
Woo! We are excited. So I'm sort of taking Commissioner Doran's place today, and really excited for the opportunity to interview Cindy today. So we're just going to sort of go ahead and get started with the burning question of how are your first few months going in the new office?
They are going wonderful. It was a real learning curve, especially at the very beginning. But now I've pretty much got my feet underneath me and am enjoying every single day. I learn something new every day, that's for sure.
Well, that's great. So getting really sort of right into it, each commissioner has, like Commissioner Doran, when we interviewed him, he shared his liaison assignments, and Cindy has some herself as well. So Cindy, do you want to go ahead and share, who your liaison assignments are, maybe what are some of the projects you guys are working on and so forth?
Sure. My departments that I have is administrative services, and underneath administrative services, that entails elections, maintenance, IT, and all of that was grouped underneath administrative services umbrella. I also have cooperative extension, which is very special to me since I worked for extension for so many years. My mother was involved in home extension groups, and all three of my children went through the 4-H program, and also master gardeners. So I think it's very important to Umatilla County, and I was glad to get that department. Developmental disabilities and veteran services, that just warms my heart. It is amazing what's happening in developmental disabilities in Umatilla County, and not only from the county's perspective, but also privately. There's some great things happening. There's some great resources out there that people don't know about. And so once I knew about those things, that was just special. Veteran services, I campaigned on veteran services. I don't think that the veterans are getting the services they need, especially on the north end of the county. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But veterans all across Umatilla County, I just think that it's very, very important. That is a population that we need to make sure that they're getting their services, and we're doing everything we can to ensure that's happening. And then public health. Public health is a huge one, especially just coming out of a global pandemic. They're doing a little bit of changes with public health. Our director, Joe, is doing an exceptional job and runs a very, very tight ship. I'm extremely impressed with public health right now. And URIS Community Benefit Plan is underneath my jurisdiction, and URIS gives out wonderful, wonderful grants on the north end of the county, and so I'm proud to be a part of that.
Exciting. So you mentioned, veteran services, public health, administrative services, extension, developmental disabilities. Are there any projects that you're working on currently with any of those departments that you want to talk about, share, any updates?
Sure. The first thing that I said that I was going to work on were services on the north end of the county, and the very first thing we did was we put veteran services in the county building in Milton Freewater 1 day a week, every Wednesday. And so Lola and Sunshine have been wonderful. They've done a lot of community outreach. We were actually on television here a couple of weeks ago. That was exciting. But they have been to the American Legion. They went to a potluck there. They went to the local Elks. Just really trying to make inroads in that end of the county. Let people know that they're there and available for services. One of the things that I really wanted to share with veteran services is if you have been denied veteran services in the past, even as long as 18 months ago or a year ago, make sure that you turn around and go back in, because legislation has changed, and these gals are wonderful with helping go through the veterans, the VA services, especially in Walla Walla. because that's where our local hospital is. But two, they know how to go through the system. And so some people that have been denied services for one reason or another, I think will be very, very surprised. So it's worth a trip in. And they're also available in Hermiston and Pendleton, but Milton Freewater, it's just on Wednesdays.
Has that received quite a bit of good feedback
It
with
has,
having
yeah.
that section open?
We're thrilled that that they're there and people are being very receptive. So that's been good. And you know, it's not only Milton Freewater that gets that benefits from that. It's all those towns. It's Weston, it's Athena, Adams, Helix, and of course our outlying areas. So we're hoping that Veterans Services covers all of Umatilla County. Of course, that's our goal, but there were certainly not those services on that north end. So we wanted to make sure that our service members, men and women, were able to get those services.
That is so exciting. I know people are very, very happy about that. And so we applaud the Veteran Services for all their great work on that. Was there any other projects that you sort of wanted to give us an update on or anything like that?
Well, one of the things that it's a really trending conversation right now is homelessness. And what I found in Umatilla County is we have these great groups that are trying to address the problem, and they're really kind of overlapping. And what we need to do is get everybody in a room together and start a discussion or a roundtable on how we're really going to take care of business. And so we've got that started, we've got it scheduled, and one of the invitees actually said to me, enough lip service, we need to get something done. And I agree with that totally. And so, like I said, we've got something scheduled in the next week or so.
Exciting. Any update for public health? I know that they're always evolving, changing, especially with legislation coming up. Any updates from public health side that you want to share or talk about?
Public health, of course, has been instrumental during our pandemic. They've done a fantastic job working under the guidelines of the state in just trying to keep Umatilla County safe. And so now that the pandemic is over, it's kind of interesting to note that their focus has kind of shifted to STDs just because they've had a real spike in that. And especially in the senior population. Senior population as in 60, 70, 80. And so those employees that were formerly working with pandemic are now transitioning over to STDs. And I thought that was a little interesting, but something that Joe takes very seriously and the rest of his team, and trying to get a handle on that.
Yeah, I know that they work also with other communicable diseases as well throughout the county. So I think, you know, probably one of their goals is to get awareness out there and let people know that this is a thing and provide them all the help and services that they need for that. So we sort of touched on veteran services, public health. Anything with developmental disabilities, projects or updates or anything with them?
Developmental disabilities, I just want to share, I was invited to a dance in Hermiston around Valentine's Day, and they told me to put on my dancing shoes. They had a wonderful time, and it was at the Arc in Hermiston. Cindy Middleton kind of heads that program up. She does a wonderful, wonderful job, and I know that she actually sits on a state committee for developmental disabilities. I did go to coffee with them about a week ago, met with their board, and then also parents that had children that were in the school district, and they range in age from not in school up to young adults. And it's very uplifting to see exactly everything that's involved with developmental disabilities, but also to the services that they offer. And it's heartwarming, and they've just got a great thing going. And so I know that they're trying to expand out a little bit across the county, but I know a lot of people really take advantage of what they have going there, the group that they have going, which is extremely strong, and I think it's been in place for several years. So got a good working relationship with the school district. In fact, the school district was there that day and was able to answer some questions. And then, of course, parents were there. So just a strong network that others are taking advantage of across the county.
Great, thank you. Well, is there anything else that you want to share with the people about any other, exciting projects that you're working on or hoping to maybe fulfill in the future or anything like that?
One of the things that I campaigned on was senior services. And even though I've done just a little bit with that, I think that's an area that we really need to focus on. I have a little background in that. I lost both my parents here in the last several years, and one of the things that we found was that my mother had had a stroke, my dad had cancer, but they wanted to live at home, and so we wanted to make sure that they had in-home services available. And we just kind of bumbled along and found out things as we went along, and it is too bad that, and I know that there's many out there that are dealing with that same thing right now. And in-home caregivers, there's services available through your hospital, social workers, and so, we just need to make it easy for the family or easy for the caregiver, the family caregiver, that has maybe older parents at home, aging parents at home, or others that are at home that do not want to go into a care facility, and make sure that they have those services that they need. And where can you find them? Also, too, my hat's off to our long-term care facilities in Umatilla County. I think they do a great job. It is amazing what they're having to deal with as far as regulations, and then to payments and working with families, and my mother was in a long-term care facility for a while, and so my hat's off to all the hard work that they do, all the folks that work in those facilities, and I think that they do a great job also. And for some people, that's the alternative that they want. But I think whatever way a senior wants to go, it is our job to make sure that if they want to live at home during their older, as they're getting older, if you want to stay at home or if you want to go into a care facility, I think that we need to do everything we can to make that happen.
For sure. I think, a lot of those facilities, the people that work there are very selfless. They do a lot to give to others, and so that is a very, very hard work, probably emotionally and physically. Is there any other highlights, anything else you want to share for today?
Like I said, I want to talk about Extension for a minute. Extension has a lot of things going on, and Junior Show starts this weekend, and for those many people who have been involved in 4-H through the years, Junior Show is the first show of the year, and looking forward to great weather and seeing all of our fair friends, and a lot of times those people that are involved in any way in Extension, it's multi-generational. So people that were there when I was showing now have, of course, grandkids and great-grandkids that are showing. So that's, and everything that Extension does, I just think that they do well. They not only focus on the youth in our community, but also have some great farm programs going on. And like I said, Master Gardeners is huge. They've got food preservation courses going on right now, which is huge for our county because a lot of people are going back to home canning and want to make sure that they know how to do it right. There goes our lights. And so anyway, Extension offers that. There you go. Extension offers that for people, so people can do home canning safely. And I think that what they're finding is a lot of young people. It used to be something that grandma did, and now we have a lot of young people that are canning their own food and have little gardens in the backyard. Families do, and taking that produce and canning it. So that's kind of fun to watch.
Well, exciting. So that sort of concludes our podcast today with Commissioner Timmons. We welcome her to the Umatilla County family, and she's been an absolute pleasure to work with. And I think we're all exciting to see, what the next few months hold, and all the excitement and summer and all the events that take place in the summer in our county. Well, if you don't have anything else, I think that concludes our your Umatilla County Conversations. And thank you again, Commissioner Timmons, for joining me with this.
Thank you, Lori.